April 25, 1915, thousands of Allied troops stormed the beaches of the Gallipoli Peninsula in one of the most ambitious and disastrous campaigns of World War I. What was meant to be a swift victory turned into an 8-month-long stalemate, resulting in over 500,000 casualties. But why did the Gallipoli campaign fail so catastrophically? And what were the long-term consequences for the nations involved? Welcome to this deep dive into the history of the Gallipoli campaign, a costly failure that changed the course of World War I and reshaped national identities across the globe. To understand why the Allies launched the Gallipoli campaign, we need to step back to 1914. World War I was raging across Europe and the Western Front had descended into a brutal stalemate. Meanwhile, in the east, the Ottoman Empire and ally of Germany controlled the crucial Dardanelles Strait, the gateway to the Black Sea. Winston Churchill, then First Lord of the Admiralty, believed that by seizing the Gallipoli Peninsula, the Allies could open a direct supply route to Russia, knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war, and pressure Germany from multiple fronts. But the plan was deeply flawed. The Allies underestimated the Ottomans' resolve, overestimated their own capabilities, and suffered from poor intelligence and coordination. The first phase of the campaign began in February 1915 with a massive Allied naval assault on the Dardanelles. British and French warships bombarded Ottoman fortifications, attempting to force their way through the strait. But the Ottomans, under the leadership of German General Otto Liman von Sanders and Turkish commander Mustafa Kemal, had heavily fortified the area. They laid deadly minefields, and on March 18th, several Allied warships, including the battleship HMS Irresistible, struck mines and sank. This naval defeat forced the Allies to abandon the idea of a purely naval breakthrough and shift their focus to a full-scale land invasion. On April 25, 1915, the Allied invasion began. The British, French, Australian, and New Zealand Army Corps ANZAC landed at multiple beaches along the Gallipoli Peninsula. But the landings quickly turned into a nightmare. At Anzac Cove, Australian and New Zealand troops faced steep cliffs and heavily entrenched Ottoman defenders. They were pinned down immediately, suffering enormous casualties. At Cape Helles, British forces faced similar resistance, with poor leadership leading to wave after wave of men being cut down by machine gun fire. Despite initial footholds, the Allies failed to advance inland. The Ottoman defenders, inspired by Mustafa Kemal's leadership and strategic positioning, held their ground. For months, the battle turned into a horrific stalemate, mirroring the trenches of the Western Front. Disease, heat, and unsanitary conditions claimed almost as many lives as enemy bullets. In August 1915, the Allies launched their last major attempt to break the deadlock, the August Offensive. The plan was ambitious. A new landing at Suvla Bay combined with attacks at Lone Pine, Chunuk Bair, and Hill 60 would push the Ottomans back. Initially, the offensive had some success. ANZAC forces managed to seize Chunuk Bair, but without reinforcements, they were overwhelmed by Ottoman counterattacks. At Suvla Bay, the British commanders hesitated, wasting precious time and allowing Ottoman reinforcements to fortify their positions. The offensive collapsed, sealing the fate of the Gallipoli campaign. By December 1915, the Allies accepted the harsh reality: Gallipoli was a failure. The decision was made to evacuate. Ironically, the withdrawal was the most successful part of the campaign. Using deception tactics, the Allies tricked the Ottomans into believing they were still holding their positions while troops were secretly evacuated. By January 1916, Gallipoli was abandoned. The result: a staggering 250,000 Allied casualties and a similar number for the Ottomans. And despite the heavy losses, the Ottoman Empire remained in the war for 3 more years. The failure at Gallipoli had profound consequences. For Winston Churchill, it was a humiliating political setback, forcing him to resign from the Admiralty. However, he would later redeem himself as Britain's Prime Minister during World War I. For the Ottoman Empire, Gallipoli was a rare victory, boosting Turkish morale. Mustafa Kemal's leadership propelled him into the national spotlight. He would later lead Turkey's independence movement and become the country's first president. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. For Australia and New Zealand, Gallipoli became a defining moment in their national consciousness. The sacrifices of the Anzac troops are commemorated every year on Anzac Day, a solemn reminder of the cost of war. For the Allies, the Gallipoli disaster reinforced a harsh truth: World War I would not be won through quick offensives but through grinding attrition. The Gallipoli campaign stands as a stark lesson in military history, a case study in overconfidence, poor planning, and the horrors of trench warfare. A costly failure, yes, but one that shaped the future of nations and the course of history. What do you think could the Allies have won if they had executed the campaign differently? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more historical insights. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning.